My name is Maya. I grew up in a quiet, modest home with two parents who believed in working hard and living simply. Even though they managed to save a lot over the years, they never showed it. We weren't flashy people. We didn't buy new cars or take fancy vacations. We were just normal, middle class, content, and practical. I guess that rubbed off on me. I'm the kind of person who likes structure and certainty. I prefer spreadsheets over small talk, and I'm more at ease in front of a computer than at a party. I'm not shy exactly, just not the life of the party kind of girl. I code for a living, and honestly, I love it. It makes sense to me. It's like solving puzzles all day. One Friday evening, after spending the whole week knee-deep in a messy, stubborn software bug that refused to go away, my phone buzzed. It was Eloise, an old friend from my college days. We hadn't talked in months, maybe longer. She had always been bright and spontaneous, the kind of person who made life feel more alive. Hey, Maya, her voice came through cheerful as ever. I know this is last minute, but there's this river cruise on Saturday night, just for fun. You should come. I hesitated. Social stuff wasn't really my thing, especially not crowded events, but that week had drained me in every way. I hadn't done anything remotely spontaneous in forever, and there was something in her voice, kind, familiar, that made it hard to say no. So I said yes. The next evening, just as the sun was beginning to dip below the city skyline, I arrived at the pier. The boat we were boarding wasn't fancy, but it had character. It looked like it had been around a while, maybe even held a few stories of its own. People were already climbing aboard, dressed up in bright dresses and button-up shirts, laughing and chatting like they were already deep into the night's fun. Meanwhile, I was in my baggy sweater and old jeans, feeling completely out of place. I kept my head down and found a quiet corner of the upper deck, hoping no one would notice me. The music started soon after we left the dock, soft at first, then louder as more people started dancing. Laughter filled the air. Everyone seemed so at ease, like they belonged. That's when I noticed him, Hayden. I didn't know his name yet. All I saw was a guy who seemed to glow wherever he went. He laughed freely, talked to everyone with that easy charm that made people lean in and listen. He moved through the crowd like he had done this 1,000 times, confident, but not cocky, effortless, and somehow, I couldn't look away. Just then, Eloise found me. Maya, she grinned, already pulling someone along by the wrist. You need to meet someone. I barely had time to say anything before Hayden was standing in front of me. Hey, he said with a warm smile, sitting down beside me like we were already friends. Eloise says you're in tech. That's cool. I can barely figure out how to update my phone apps. I laughed, genuinely, which surprised me. His voice wasn't mocking, just playful. He seemed impressed, not put off. I do more than updates, I said with a grin, but yeah, it's a lot of screen staring and late nights. We started talking, and talking, about work, random hobbies, old cartoons, favorite takeout spots. It felt easy. That rarely happened for me with strangers, but Hayden didn't seem like a stranger for long. Before I knew it, the boat was heading back to the dock. He turned to me and said, "We should do this again. What do you think?" Then he held out his phone for my number. I gave it to him, without overthinking it. That was the first sign this was different. The very next day, he called. "Hey Maya, up for dinner this week? I know this little diner that feels like a time machine. You'll love it." I said yes. The place was small and cozy, tucked between a bookstore and a laundromat. The booths were red vinyl, and a jukebox in the corner played soft oldies. It felt like stepping into someone's good memory. We slid into a booth, and Hayden guessed my milkshake order, strawberry. He was right. "You get me, don't you?" I teased. He smiled. "I pay attention." He asked about my work, and I found myself talking more than usual, about the app one was building, the people I worked with, the weird bugs that kept popping up. He wasn't bored. He leaned in like it was fascinating, like I was fascinating. When the check came, he waved it away. "This one's on me," he said. "You can get the next." That became our thing. No keeping score, just an easy rhythm that built over the weeks. Our dates weren't fancy, but they were ours. Late night walks, ramen bowls, game nights on his couch. It all felt natural. A few months later, he asked me to meet his parents. I was nervous, of course. That part of a relationship always feels like a test, but he brushed it off. "They're super chill," he promised. "You'll be fine." They lived in a big, beautiful house in a gated neighborhood. Everything inside looked expensive but neat, like it belonged in a catalog. His parents greeted me with wide smiles. His mom, Cora, even gave me a hug. "It's so nice to finally meet you, Maya. Hayden's told us so much," she said. Dinner was fancy, the kind where the forks outnumbered the courses. At first, it was small talk, but then the questions began. "So, Maya," his dad, Tyler, started casually, "Hayden says you work in tech. That must bring in a pretty good paycheck?" I nodded politely. "It's a good field. I've been lucky." Cora jumped in, looking me over. "And your company pays well? That's wonderful. Not everyone your age is so independent." I smiled but felt the shift. The way she said, "your age," stuck with me. Then came the family questions. "What about your parents?" Tyler asked, sipping his wine. "They're retired now," I said. "My dad ran a small business. My mom helped out a lot too." Cora blinked and gave a tight smile. "Oh, I see, that's nice." Something in her voice changed, not cruel, but colder, less interested. After that, the conversation moved on, but I couldn't relax. I felt like I'd been measured and quietly judged. On the drive back, I tried to joke. "Your parents really care about salaries, huh?" Hayden laughed, brushing it off. "They're just curious. Don't worry, they liked you." But something inside me whispered that maybe they didn't, or maybe they liked me less once they realized I wasn't like them. I didn't come from money. I wasn't polished or well-connected. I was just me, Maya. And maybe, for them, that wasn't enough. I had been staying at Hayden's parents' house for a while. At first, things seemed okay, even if a bit awkward, but over time, it became clear that I was no longer welcome in the same way. Meals became tense. The conversations were filled with sharp, indirect comments about how hard times were, and how I should be doing more to help. One evening, while I was finishing up some freelance work on my laptop in the guest room, Cora knocked on the door. "Maya, dear," she said with a polite but tight smile, "please try to keep your showers short. Water bills are getting high, and every bit counts." I blinked, not sure how to respond. "Okay, sure," I said softly, not wanting to cause more tension. That night at dinner, things got worse. I had just sat down with my plate when Tyler spoke up, his voice a little too loud, a little too pointed. "You know, Maya, we're happy to help you, but having you here adds to the bills. We're not a charity, you know, not a bank." My hand froze with my fork halfway to my mouth. I tried to stay calm. "I understand," I said. "I've been applying to jobs every day. It's just been tough out there." Hayden didn't say anything. He just kept eating, eyes on his plate, as if none of it concerned him. His silence weighed more than his parents' words. After that, things went downhill fast. Hayden started getting impatient with me. He'd snap over small things, like forgetting to turn off a light or leaving a glass in the sink. One day, after another rejection email landed in my inbox, Hayden lost his temper. "Why can't you just find a job?" he shouted. "I am trying," I shot back, my voice shaking. "Do you think I like being in this position?" "Well, try harder," he snapped. "This isn't working. You're just here all day, and I'm stuck with this mess." His words hit me like a slap. This wasn't the Hayden I fell for. This wasn't the man who promised to stand by me when things got hard. Cora started dropping more and more comments about freeloaders. Tyler would make jokes about how they were taking care of 2 kids now. I felt smaller and more unwanted with each passing day. I wanted so badly to call my parents, to hear my mom's soft voice or my dad's steady reassurance, but how could I tell them the truth? That I was broke, jobless, and living under the roof of people who treated me like a burden. It would break their hearts. Then came Cora's birthday dinner. It was supposed to be a simple celebration, just close family at a nice restaurant downtown. I thought maybe, just maybe, we could pretend to be a normal, happy group for one night. But I should have known better. As we walked into the restaurant, the mood was fake from the start. Cora was all smiles, basking in compliments. Tyler went on about the expensive wine he was planning to order. Hayden laughed too loudly at his parents' jokes, playing the part of the dutiful son. When we sat down, the waiter handed out menus. Mine felt thinner, lighter. I opened it and my stomach dropped. The menu only had a few basic, cheap items, salads, bread, a couple of pasta options. I looked around and saw Hayden and his parents reading from a completely different menu, full of fancy dishes. Why do I have a different menu? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. Hayden leaned over, glanced at it, and smirked. Oh, that's the budget menu. We figured it was more appropriate for you. Cora giggled. Yes, darling, without a job, it's better to stick to the essentials. Tyler laughed the loudest. Hey, there's always bread and water, right? My face burned with humiliation. People at nearby tables had started to stare. I could hear a few whispers. One woman even raised her phone, clearly recording. I stood up, shaking, my voice low but firm. I'm not some charity case, I said. When I had money, you were more than happy to accept my gifts. You loved the dinners I paid for, and now that I'm down, I'm just a joke to you. The restaurant went silent. Hayden reached for my arm. Maya, stop, you're embarrassing yourself. I pulled away. No, Hayden, I'm done being your punching bag. I'm done being the joke. I left the restaurant. My heart was racing, my face wet with tears I didn't even realize had started falling. I walked straight home, packed my bags, and left that house for good. Driving back to my parents' house, I felt a mess of emotions, shame, sadness, but also relief. When I arrived, my dad was in his recliner with a newspaper. Like always, he looked up, and when he saw me, my face red, my clothes wrinkled, my eyes swollen, his expression changed to worry. Maya, what happened? He asked gently. I dropped onto the couch, unable to hold back the tears any longer. I lost everything, Dad, I said. Hayden, the job, all of it. They treated me like dirt, and I let them. Dad set down his paper and looked at me seriously. I knew something was off from the beginning, but I knew you had to learn it for yourself. They were the real freeloaders, not you. I shook my head, but now I've got nothing left. He got up, went to the old desk in the corner, and pulled out a checkbook. You're wrong, he said. You've still got your brains, your fire, and your talent. That's more than enough. He handed me a check. I looked at it, $400. My eyes widened. This is for you to start your own company, he said, like you always talked about. It's time. I hugged him tightly, heart full of gratitude. Thank you, Dad. I won't let you down.